we're going to be interpreting dot plots. So this dot plot represents families with different numbers of computers. So one family has 0 computers, 3 families have 1 computer, 4 families have 2 computers, 4 families have 3 computers, and 1 family has 4 computers. So I transferred this dot plot onto a piece of notebook paper so that it's a little bit easier to write on. It says, what fraction of the students use 1 computer? So we know that all fractions is a part out of a whole. And the part that we're looking at is the number of 1 computers out of a total number of families that were surveyed. So if I look at just the ones, that's this column right here, there are 3 families that have 1 computer. In order to get the total, all I have to do is go and add up all of these dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 families that are surveyed. So 3 out of 13 of them surveyed own 1 computer. What fraction of the families use either 2 or 3 computers? So when it says 2 or 3, that means that I'm going to take these 2 and I'm going to combine their values. So I'm going to take these 4 and combine those 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Out of a total of 13 families surveyed. Compare the number of families that use 2 computers to the number of families that use 0 or 4. So 2 computers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 0 or 4. So that's 1, 2. So if we do 2, that is 4. To 0 or 4, that's 1 plus 1, which is 2. So you could say half as many people own 0 or 4 computers as they do 2 computers. Or you could say 2 times or twice the amount of people work on 2 computers than they do on 0 or 4 computers. Try to use those multiplicative words like twice or 1/4 of or half of, things like that to do your comparisons. So the next one says compare the total number of families to the number of families that use less than 2 computers. So you know that the total is 13. And we want less than 2 computers. So I'm going to go up here, less than 2. So here's 2. I want everything less than that. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would say approximately 3 times the number of people who do less than 2 computers were surveyed. You could say maybe approximately 1/3, because 1/3 of 13 is like 4 1/3-ish. 4 1/13 actually. So 4 and it's 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. So 4 is approximately close to 4 1/4. So you might say like approximately 4 1/4 of the amount of people were surveyed as like use at least 2 computers or less than 2 computers. And then the next one says, what fraction of families uses at least 2 computers? So the word at least means that that's the lowest it'll go. At least. That's the least value. So which means that you would count all of the 2s, all of the 3s, and all of the 4s. So you have 4 plus 4, which is 8, plus 1 is 9. So you would have 9 out of 13 surveyed have at least, so greater than or equal to 2 computers. So that's the way that the questioning goes. Now, the most common way that you're going to see information including dot plots is going to be comparing dot plots together using mean, median, mode, range, the shape of the data, whether there's gaps, clusters, or peaks. So we're going to do mean, median, mode, and range really quickly. Mean, median, mode, and range. Okay, so out of those 4, the easiest one to do is the range, because the range is just talking about the difference between these 2 numbers, your highest and your lowest. So all you have to do is count the amount of numbers in between each one. So you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could do 4 minus 0 and still get 4. The mode is a number that you see the most. So now you just look at each one of the numbers and see which one is represented the most amount of times. So this is a 1, a 3, a 4, and a 1. So there are actually two modes. These two are there the most. So your modes are 2 and 3. So the median is the number in the middle. You can either take all of the numbers and line them all up and then count the number in the middle, or you can just mark out the lowest number, the highest number, lowest number, and the highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, lowest, highest, and you're left with 2. So your median number is 2. And then we do the mean. So in order to find the mean, you have to add up every single one of the numbers and divide by the number of dots that you see. So whatever we get, we're going to divide by 13 because that was our total, remember? So 0, and I'm going to use multiplication to help me out, and then I'm going to add together those products. So 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4 is 8. 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4 is 12. And 4 times 1 is 4. So now I'm going to add them together. So we have 4 and 12 is 16, plus 8 is 24, plus 3 is 27, plus 0 is still 27. So I'm going to do 27, and I'm going to divide that by 13. So I'm going to go top in, bottom out, circle, circle, dot, dot. Now we have a decimal spot. If I have 2 and I want to make a group of 13, I do not have enough. So I'm going to put a 0 above that and move over one place value. If I have 27 and I want to make groups of 13, I can make 2 groups of 13, which is 26, and leaves me with 1. Then I can bring down a 0. 13 does not go into 10, so I'm going to put a 0, and I can bring down another 0. 13 goes into 100 7 times, which is 91. Leaves me with 9. Bring down another 0. 13 goes into 90 about 6 times. Yeah, 6 times, which is 78. And that leaves us with 12. So now I'm just going to round. So I'm going to round to my hundredths place, which is right here. So I'm going to look at the 6. If this number is 5 or more, it has the power to add 1 more. If this number is less than 5, it just goes away. So 5 or more, add 1 more. 6 is more than 5, so I get to add 1 more. So this becomes 2.08. So my mean is 2.08. Your mean and your median will be relatively close as long as there's no extreme outliers or extreme numbers. Like if there was like a 20 way over here, then that's going to skew that mean. And it would skew it to the right. So mean is 2.08, median is 2, mode is 2 and 3, and your range is 4. Now, one other thing that we need to talk about is called the shape of the data. So we kind of treat it like a hill. So we go up and we go down. So you'll notice that this hill is almost symmetrical. It has almost the same amount of dots on the right as it does on the left. So this is called symmetrical. There is not really a peak, but we could call this section right here a peak. So maybe the peak might be between 2 and 3, or it might be 2 and 3. Or it might just say it levels off at 2 and 3 and then reduces back down to 4. There is no gaps. A gap would mean like if it went 0 to 4 and then 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there was nothing in between. So there's no gaps. There's a cluster between 0 and 4, and that's all we got. Hope that helped a little.